Alrighty, and we should be back up and running. That wasn't even a minute, that was like 30 seconds. But this is now a new stream, and this is Welcome to Magnolia Part 4, which is the working title I've given Nick's writing prompt story. So, this is coming straight from the back of editing Part 3, so it's still Sunday, 10:30 a.m. now, on the 19th of November. Huh, we're getting close to Christmas, aren't we? But yeah, so just double check that everything's up and running. Yes, it is. Very nice. Good. Just check one thing. That YouTube's going live. Yep, that's all up and running too. Very nice, very nice. Good, okay, so let's take part 4, which looks a little about the same length, I think. Good, so if for whatever reason you've just popped in between part 3 and part 4, or if you're watching this out of order or something, Lyrebird Edits, hi, that's me, and I am taking, with permission of course, user nickofnight's story that he wrote from a writing prompt, and I am editing it. I've been working through parts 1 to 3 over the past week, actually. So now we're up to part 4. Copy that into a new document. And do a couple of things. Step 1, make the text black, or 12. Black, Vidana, why not? Whoops. Magnolia part 4. There we go. That should update the title. Yes, very nice. Good. Magnolia. Nick of Night. Welcome part 4. Alrighty, in we dive. So this is a link that I'm putting in chat box on Twitch, chat box on YouTube. Good. So follow that through to this story here, and we will dive in and go straight to the edits. Oh, suggestions, really. Right after I figure out how many words this is. It's 1,000, so I'll get this done before 12 o'clock today. Alrighty. Good. Yep. Oh, hello, Silence Voice. Sorry, exiled voice. Pardon me. I couldn't read the small text there. Good morning. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. And it has been a good morning for me. You've caught us at a interesting time. We've edited part 3 of Welcome to Magnolia, which is the sci-fi noir story that Nick of Night allowed me to do some edits for. So I just pasted the link into this story maybe before you came. If you can see it, then give me a thumbs up or something. Otherwise I can repaste it again and you can go and have a look at it yourself. Good to see that you're well. Yeah, so this is, I've been working on this writing prompt from Nick of Night since last Sunday. Part 1, part 2 on Wednesday, part 3, and part 4 today. Can't see it. All good? I will paste it again for you. So, this is part 4 of a story. I'll give you a quick rundown. Also, this is the second part of the stream that I'm working on right now. So, I was streaming this morning from 9 to 10:30 and then 10:30 onwards. I thought I'd break it up so that Nick could have an easier time coming through and looking at my edits. Cool. So, Welcome to Magnolia. It's a future noir sci-fi Blade Runner style story where people can have their memories skimmed away and their experiences relived fresh. Now, one of the people who's undergone this procedure, something weird happened to them, and they have all these different memories speaking through them to a psychologist. Now, originally it was thought that this patient murdered the psychologist, but in the last part we discovered that that wasn't true. David is the main character. He's the detective that's been hired by the company that operates the skimming to come in and figure out the case about Eisenstadt having murdered the doctor. Eisenstadt has then revealed that there's this facility on Earth that has mass cloned the whole population and replaced them wholesale. So David and the director of the company were on their way to this facility. Pigtail string. I suppose not more than what I'm used to. I suppose part 3 was 1,200 words, misses 1,000 words, so 2,500, a bit below, is kind of what I'm used to. I could lie and say it's a big day of streaming and say, oh, aren't I wonderful doing all that streaming? Yeah, it's a really good story. I love doing this. Go back and check out part 1 and follow it up all the way to part 4. There may be a few spoilers in this one, but feel free to stick around and we will go through the story and ride roughshod over those spoilers. But yeah, definitely recommend going back to part 1 and reading through. Every part will have a link into the next, or if you just go into Nick's subreddit. So if you just get rid of everything after Nick of Night, get rid of the /comments, and you'll be able to see his subreddit where you can find the stories. I think he plans to collect all of these parts into like a mini novella and to release it. So that'd be really cool. I'd love to see him do that. 15 seconds. Sorry about this. No, it's fine. Don't worry. I'm really used to it. It's always been the case between like TTLACC usually gets between like 8 and 10 seconds delay. So I'm always used to interacting with people when it's like with that delay built into it. When you become a Twitch affiliate, no, a Twitch partner, you get priority things, and I think one of them is a reduced delay. On that note, before I dive into this, I can actually become a Twitch affiliate right now. I got a message a month ago saying that I've reached the minimum criteria to become an affiliate. Now, an affiliate is someone who can accept cheers. So it's like Twitch's inbuilt monetization system where you guys can throw money at me and you get little badges for it. In addition, I get a few perks. One perk being I get some sort of custom logo or something, like a custom emoji that you can use in my channel. I think that's how that works. I didn't really make sense of what that was. And there's something else that I've forgotten. Some sort of like priority in technical support or something. Yeah, I might get around to accepting that. I don't care about the cheer system. I don't want you guys spending money on me. And then I have to figure out how that's going to be taxed too. But yeah, I mean, the custom emoji is probably why I'd do it. I could accept being an affiliate and then just not do the cheer system. I might do that and then get myself a custom Lyrebird emoticon. Yeah. And maybe that will improve the delay. Maybe that's one of the perks of being an affiliate. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, let's dive into the suggestions. I'll read down until I find a part. Here we go. Here's the end of this session. So... Nope, sorry. Where was it? End of session here. Switch to edits, tab, suggest. Good. Nice. The lights on the sub stab at the back. The lights on the sub stab at the black water around us like blunt daggers, barely revealing a few feet in front of us. Revealing a few feet in front or below us. The water must be as thick as oil. The engine growls as it struggles to propel us through it. I look again at the third session notes that Juliet had shown me, reluctantly shown me. I'll come back and make suggestions about the opener in a sec. Richard Eisenstadt with Dr. Omen, session 3. So this is the man with the faulty impressions of who he is and his faulty memories. This is the doctor that conducts the skimming process. Oh, you know what I should do? I'll read out the writing prompt that this is based on. Everyone is immortal in the distant future. To keep life interesting, most people reset their memories every few centuries so they can experience life anew. And this is the story that Nick wrote out from that. So this is the memory. Feedback on the memory process. Eisenstadt. Oh, I'll zoom in a bit more. Sorry about that. Easy for you guys to read. Eisenstadt, we see you found it. What the hell is this place? Or what the hell is that place? You seem nervous, Doctor. Good. Just answer my questions, please. You might call it Eden. Eden? It's where you were born, where everyone is born. A cloning facility? In a sense. You say we're all clones. What exactly do you mean by clones? A replica of an identity. Of part of an identity. Who is that entity? Ex nihilo. Ex nihilo? What is ex nihilo? We mankind awoke. I think it was not prepared for, and that was responsible for mankind's extermination. Then, your kind sprung forth from the ashes of humanity. Tell me this, where is ex nihilo? Capital N here. It's everywhere. It is while you sleep, while you dream. I'm not real, am I? Define real. I'm not me. Is it a question? Was I the same person yesterday, last year? What about my wife? God damn it, tell me. You serve your purpose, no more than that. That is all any of you do, until you're needed no longer. At least not as you are. So it's all a lie. Yes, but we can show the truth. We can restore humanity. Ex nihilo sleeps. Now is the time, the only time. What do I need to do? Help me set the voices free. Help me reach Eden. End of session. Cool. Go back and edit. The lights on the sub stab at the black water around us like blunt daggers, barely revealing a few feet in front or below us. When I read that, I struggle to read it out loud, maybe just because of some of the words sound a bit funny together. In my head, let me read it silently. It's smoother, except for the sub stab. Very, very slow alliteration. Let me reword this. Light from the submarine carves through the black water around us like a blunt dagger, barely parting the mass for even a few feet in all directions, versus the lights on the sub stab at the black water around us like blunt daggers, barely revealing a few feet in front or below us. It's the same thing rewritten in a slightly different word choice style. Does it solve the fundamental problem of that opener, and that it stumbled into its imagery. Light from the submarine carves through the black water around us like a blunt dagger, barely parting the mass for even a few feet in all directions. I think the image is fine. I think it just needs a bit of rewording. Needs a bit of rewording to make it smoother. Like what I suggested. The water must be as thick as oil. The engine growls as it struggles to propel us through it. Good. I look again at the third session notes that Juliet showed me, reluctantly showed me. Where is Juliet right now? I think we, as readers, having come from part 3 where he was pointing a gun at her and getting her to reveal that she killed him. Where is she? I wanna know. I'm impatient. But I think in terms of a structural sense, it's really important that you get that reader's question out of the way. Otherwise, it just drags through the whole section. Like, where is she? 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 As we're reading, that's all I'm thinking about. So answer it up here, and then you can focus down below. This ocean contained actual oil since it was black. I think that was my impression too. So it's like, it must be as thick as oil. I don't know what's in this plagued ocean. Maybe it's some sort of like... Maybe it's like the mess of humanity. I have a feeling this ex nihilo thing like disassembled humanity or something and spread it in the oceans. Coincidentally, I'm actually writing a story right now that's quite similar. It has a similar theme of like replacing humanity wholesale. I'll try not to steal this idea. It's a neat one about the water. Like, what is this water? Why is it black? It's environmental disaster, sure, but do we really know what it's made of? A weird part of me thinks like it wants it to be like a collective ooze of humanity. Weird. So Nick, if you don't end up using that idea, then I'm gonna take it. Yeah. But if it turns out to be humanity, I'd be like, ah, damn. Oh well, there are other liquids we can use to fill the ocean, not just humanity. Yeah, but it does make me think now of what this is and what ex nihilo is too. I think this is all fine. Nothing jumped out at me here as needing... actually, there is one thing. But it's all any of you do until you're no longer needed. At least not as you are. At least not in the form you currently take, is I think what Nick wants to get across. Yeah. It's fine. I think it's interesting how Omen's, like, their roles have reversed, and Omen is now the one questioning himself. Eisenstadt is now in control. Also interesting to note here that Omen was in the same position as David is currently going through. I look up at Juliet. She's watching me warily, her eyes flicking back and forth between me and my peace gun. I swear I had no choice, she says, her face still pale. So you said. Eisenstadt had brainwashed him. Isn't that much clear to you? Nothing's clear to me right now, even if he betrayed you. Why'd you kill him? Why not scheme him? He was smart. The man was an asset to you. And you knew a death would bring a ton of attention your way. He attacked me. I had no choice. It was nothing more than self-defense. He thought I was part of this conspiracy. Besides, he was a traitor. He helped Eisenstadt escape. You know what I find really odd? What? Why you dragged me into this? I mean, why me? Hell, why involve anyone outside your administration? Juliet looks down at the cold steel floor but says nothing. I glance down at the paper again. Let me run a theory by you. What theory? Say that Eisenstadt believes that this ex nihilo, whoever it is, speaks to us in our dreams, that he manipulates us through them when we're asleep in the vector coffins. I pause, waiting for Juliet to speak. She doesn't. I want to stop there. Again, just a couple of points here where I'd like the dialogue to break up. This is my symbol to Nick, the author, just to break up the... It doesn't even have to be here, it just needs some parts where we break up the dialogue. There's also no ground here, so I like a bit of ground too. How is Juliet restrained? Where exactly are they? Is the submarine swaying? The mess, who is piloting, etc. Throw Yep. Good. This could even come further up. I don't mind that we don't know here. I prefer it to come here, but I think here is maybe just as good. Maybe earlier up. That'll be personal preference with Nick. Say that Eisenstadt... Oh, I've already read this. Good. This is really good. Love it. Great. Great. This breaks up. Adds intrigue. Say that you believe that much, and so you needed someone who can't be manipulated. I bet there aren't many others like me. Two sides and her shoulders fall. Yes, there are a few like you. None like you. Oh, yes, there are few like you. None like you would be more accurate. You've been letting yourself age the past 20 years. Like you said, I'm a freak. She looks up at me and smiles. Unique. Someone who will let themselves age until they die. She laughs. Very unique. I shift uncomfortably in my seat. Yeah, well, if we're right, if someone is manipulating our dreams, then there's no one else I can trust. You need to break that up with that. Plus, you're ready to die. That could be useful for me. I'd like to break that up with a full stop. That, not incorrect, but we've already had some hyphen dashes. These are two separate uses of hyphen dashes. So we've got like I don't want to say stipulative, it's not the right word, sort of like in between information, throwaway information, and linked interrelated parts. I let out a short laugh. How reassuring. You wanted to hear the truth. What happens when we sleep? I don't know exactly. No one does. The technology just has always been there since before the restart. We know that it cleans us, we know that it cures us, that it holds back aging, but we don't understand the technology that allows the vector coffins to work. As such, we can't create more. Hence the population limit. Right, and what do you know about Eden? If he's immortal, how is he going to manage to die through aging? I think the immortality that he's established in this... good spotting, by the way. I think the immortality that he's established in this is not that it's conditional immortality on their access to a vector coffin. Just checking. Immortality is conditional on access to a vector coffin, correct? Yeah, because that will clear that up. They're not strictly immortal, they're conditionally immortal. And that the vector coffin skims their memories and I suppose de-ages them on a molecular sense. But if they're all clones, then that might make more sense than if they're just regular humans too. It might be some sort of clonal reset switch or something. What do you know about Eden? About this Eden? Nothing. There were tales of Eden from Christianity, but that's it, just mythology. You can also say Judaism too. Don't forget Judaism. That would also be like throwaway information. Well, really, it's mainly Judaism. Judaic creation story has Lilith in it as well. Adam's... How did Lilith fit into Adam and Eve? Did Adam and Eve's son get married to Lilith? I don't recall. My knowledge of Judaic creation is partly from Evangelion, the anime, but there are some details there that are outside of that too. I don't remember how Lilith fit in him. So really it should be Judaism first, then Christianity, but I guess Christianity has sort of superseded the primacy in terms of the mythology of it, I suppose. That's it? A challenge? That's it. Good repetition from another part too. I remember this. I think that was part 2, yeah. We found the paper I showed you, the code Eisenstadt provided. We found the paper I showed you from the code Eisenstadt provided. Think for a moment. What does this mean? The coordinates? Location in that would make more sense, because where would the paper come from? The code. It's a paper, not like a digital message. I want clarification on that, Nick. Just, is that correct? I think for a moment, what if any link to this Eden was removed from the archives by Omen? Impossible, no one gets in or out, not even me. Oh, one of the things that Nick mentioned to me over Reddit messaging is that he wanted part 2 to dive down into the archives, the library, but decided to write it in a bit more, in a quicker sense, to put it up onto Reddit. But I think when he goes through and edits part 2 again, a lot of that will take place actually inside the archive and the library, which I'm very excited for, so it should be good. No one has clearance to enter. If I need something from it, I ask the librarians, and they find it. Yeah, the librarians, I pause for a moment, let my mind sink into the abyss outside the window. If you're lying to me, Juliet, about any of this, I'm going to find out. If I was, you'd find out soon, I think. We're approaching the coordinates. I glance back out the window. I think he was already glancing out the window. The mech out the window. The echoes of a once great civilization lie on the ocean bed beneath us, piles of concrete and indistinguishable grey rubble, with stubs of once great towers that aimed for the heavens, castles of sand. Then we see it, a huge dome complex lying on the ocean bed. A huge dome complex lying on the ocean bed, comma, looms in the distance. Huge dome complex. It's almost like there are too many things in this sentence. Let me see it. Huge, this is run on, that's okay. A huge domed complex sticks into the ocean bed, looms in the distance. Oh, no, it's okay. Looms in the distance. It has 2 separate ideas linked together with a comma for separation. It's interesting. A huge dome complex lying on the ocean bed looms in the distance. But that's the problem, as TTLACC just said. It lies and looms. I think we need a bit of separation between them. Looming in the distance. A huge dome complex lying on the ocean bed, looming in the distance. That's better, I think. I'm happier with that, rather than looms, looming. It's a state of doing rather than description of it. Its dim neon light penetrates the void, gradually brightening as we approach. Gradually brightening is fine, I think. Its dim neon light penetrates the void, brightening with each second as we approach. Gradually brightening as we approach. Fine. I'm not going to argue about that. Eden Juliet says quietly, reverently. I could only let out a slow whistle. The lights, it's still functional, Juliet whispers. It was lucky Eden was waterproof. What do you mean? Just that I'm willing to bet that facility is much more recent than New York. The dome around it, the entire complex was purposely designed to exist down here on the ocean floor. Juliet frowns. Why would someone build in the plate ocean? That doesn't make any sense. It makes sense, I say slowly, if you don't want to be found. Good. That's a good little conclusion to that part. Yeah, this was I don't think I want to linger too much on the lying looming problem. I think if it lies and looms, it has to be lying looming, and that's okay. A couple more places I feel that the dialogue needs to be broken up. Nick will go through that and judge for himself whether or not that's appropriate. The grounding needs to come here or here after the transcript. So a couple of questions here. Where did the transcript come from? Juliet said it was found in the code that Eisenstadt gave. I don't know what that meant. Like in the location, or like was it couched in the code itself? I'm not entirely sure. I don't understand where that came from. So just clarify that a bit. Rounding this scene will make more sense of how the dialogue flows back and forth. But I sort of feel like now that the power relationship between Nick and Juliet has been inverted, and that not Nick and Juliet, David and Juliet has been inverted, their dynamic can change a little bit. I saw it somewhat, but I feel as though in many ways they're still just talking to each other as though they're individuals. Now, without having that subversion take place, I'll try and find a point where that struck me as something that needs to change. Here, this is good. It happens twice too. Yeah, so maybe not in the content of what she says, but in how she's saying it, the power relationship has changed. Also shows the changing power between alrighty. But I think we're done for that part. I don't think there's much more that I can comment about it. Let me go back into part 5. We'll see. 6. Excuse me. Part 7. Just want to see how many parts there are. And an epilogue. Okay, it looks like they're about the same length. That's probably a bit longer. Good, 1, 2. Good. I think what I may do is save parts 5 and 6 for Wednesday, and then we'll try and polish off 7 and the epilogue next Sunday. So I've got another full week's worth of editing to do for Nick. I think if I start part 5 right now, I don't think I will get it. Let me just have a quick check of how long it is. Because that was 1,200 words I just did then in half an hour. That was one of the quickest edits I've done, actually. Black. Number 13. What do you guys feel? Do you wanna call that a day? I'm happy to do a bit more. I'm just conscious of I don't want to make this go for too long. It's another 6 pages. I'll let you guys decide. Would you like to stick around and we can edit part 5? Or do you want to let it settle for a bit and come back on Wednesday and then we can have a crack at it then? I'm happy to do either. Let me know. Either way, I'm going to set up Okay, thanks, Exiled Voice. Let me go grab water, and then I think we can tackle part 5, and then we can do 6 on Wednesday. It'll be 6 and 7 on Wednesday. An epilogue. Yeah, let's do it. Let me do the same thing as what I did before. I'm going to stop the stream and then go and restart the stream with part 5 as the stream title. I'll do that on YouTube and Twitch, so don't freak out. I'll just be back in a minute with some updated features. So stick around and we'll do part 5 and then I think we'll call it a day.